Today's video is going to be on how to start or build a YouTube channel. If you're not familiar with my work, my name is Polk. I'd say I'm a mid-tier YouTuber. I started about 2 years ago and I've built 2 channels in poker and cryptocurrency to over 200,000 subscribers. In this video, we're going to go through all of the steps that you need in order to succeed in the platform. Now, that doesn't mean if you follow everything, you're going to be a huge YouTube sensation. It's going to come down to a lot of stuff, like what space you're in, how creative you are, how good your jokes are, how good your editing is, and many other things as well. But if you follow these steps, you're certainly going to give yourself a good chance to succeed, and I'm going to walk you through it. All right, let's go ahead and start off with step 1, make a video. Alright, I know that might sound weird that the first step you're going to do is to make a video, and obviously if you don't have something like a microphone or a webcam, you should probably buy those first. But there's a reason why I think it's important to get that step out of the way early, and the reason is because people always have a million excuses to not make that first video. Oh, I can't think of the exact right topic, or I don't have the funniest jokes in it, or I don't know the way the scenes change. Dude, it's your first YouTube video. You're not filming the season finale of Westworld. Pick a topic and just go for it. It can be about anything, guys. It can be about a video game that you like, or a game that you like in real life, or a sport, or politics, or news, or movies. It can be about any subject. Pick something that you feel particularly passionate about. Fire up the video, record, get some basic recording software, and just go for it. I know it's not going to be an amazing video. Obviously, it's your first try. But now what you've effectively done is you've started a baseline. And I think that's important. And we're going to get into all of the steps as to how to make things better and how to improve. But if you don't take that first step and actually make a video, it might never happen. I see so many people that want to do it, but they never actually just go for it. Make your first video and then let's go from there. With your first 4-minute video out of the way on why waffle fries are better than normal ones, now you're ready to start making some progress. And let's start off with looking at specifically the camera, the video and the audio elements. First off, a big mistake a lot of new YouTubers make is lighting. In fact, I make this mistake still all the time because it's complicated. But here's the general idea. You always want light in front of you and not behind you. When light is in front of you, it lights up your face and you can see you clearly. I've got, frankly, a ridiculous amount of lights in front of me to where it makes me feel almost a little bit in a daze. That's actually good because you can make sure to see your face clearly. If people can't see you clearly, they might leave. So you want to make sure you have adequate lighting in front of you. If you're on a budget, you can even use a window and record during the day. Make sure that light's in front of you. Never record with a window behind you. The exact opposite thing happens. That becomes the focus of the frame. Now, I'm not an expert on lighting, so don't ask me super advanced questions. But the main point is get lighting in front of you, light up your face so people can see you. As for video quality, look, most of the basic webcams these days are going to do the trick in terms of what you need to get started. One day down the road, you might want to buy a nicer camera. I have the Canon EOS C, but you don't need to spend that much money out of the gate. Buy something from Logitech, buy any of the basic webcams. Those are going to be just fine for your purposes out of the gate. When you can afford to buy something nicer, go for that. But at the start, you really don't have to take that step. Same thing for microphones. Look, I still use the Blue Yeti. In fact, maybe at some point I'll upgrade from that. But find something that's not extremely expensive, but still reasonably high quality. I'm not a tech guy. I don't know what's good out there in the market. But really, you shouldn't have to spend that much more to get started than 50-ish bucks for a decent webcam, something similar for the microphone, and you're going to have at least a decent degree of quality in terms of audio and video. I'm not really going to go the extra mile here. Yeah, I have some sound padding on the walls and I have a nice presentable background. I think that stuff's fun and cool. But again, those stuffs aren't really the most important. What's most important is people can hear and see you clearly and you can actually understand what the video is going to be about. So I'm going to save you all the little things on the technical side. There's tons of videos about that anyway. I want to focus on the content itself. Now let's start to talk about the videos themselves, which, by the way, you've still been producing. In fact, you should be making a video at least every 3 to 5 days on a new topic. Your last video wasn't a smash success? Well, people are going to love your topic on why medium rare steaks are better than medium, or whatever topic it is you're picking. It doesn't matter. And you should see a little bit of an improvement now. You've probably fixed your microphone settings some. You've probably fixed the webcam a bit. Your lighting is a little bit better. You're going to start to see progress, and that's really key in your growth as a YouTuber. Your videos start to get better. You start to feel happier with the way that they look. You're actually getting better at the platform. Now, let's start to talk about what the content is and how we can improve it. By this point, you should have picked a general vicinity topic you're going to want to be in. Now, that doesn't mean it's what you're going to be for the rest of your life. I'm sure it could change many times. But a really important element to YouTube success is to make sure you specifically go after one area. That's why I have 5 YouTube channels. Okay, so probably don't start 5 YouTube channels, but this is the point that I'm trying to make. Pick an area that you want to succeed in and go after that. Learn about that. At this point, you're going to have to start doing some research. See what other YouTubers in the space are doing. See what big ones are doing. See what medium-sized ones are doing. See what small ones are doing. And start to get a feel for the types of content that they create. And this is where you're going to have to start to get a little bit creative. You don't want to do exactly what the big guys are doing. You're never going to make it there by exact replica copying them because they're going to be doing it better than you. They've been doing it for years. They have a much bigger budget. They probably have a team. They're used to being creative. You're not going to beat these guys going after the exact same market as them. You're going to have to figure out your own way to create videos. Let me give you a couple of examples here because I've done this in 2 spaces. So for example, poker. Now, I was actually a high stakes poker player coming into YouTube, which is a weird career transition, but this gave me a little bit of an advantage that I had versus other YouTubers. And that advantage is that I actually know a lot about how to play poker. I'm not to say that a lot of the people on YouTube who play poker are terrible. Actually, I am going to say that. So I thought to myself, what's the best way I can take advantage of the fact that I am an actual high stakes poker player on YouTube? And the answer to that is, of course, play to my strengths. I should do videos about poker strategy, not necessarily news and other things. I've done a lot of different stuff on my channel, but if I really want to harness my advantage, people would rather listen to someone who actually plays high stakes poker over someone that just makes videos about it because of the obvious reason of that guy knows more about what's going on. So I had an idea to start a hand review analysis show called Poker Hands. The reason I called it Poker Hands was because I wanted the word poker in the term, in the phrase, so I'd rank high for the term poker in case people were searching for the word poker. Or if they were watching a poker video, it might pop up in the sidebar. So this is really where I tried to take advantage of that edge that I had, and I started to take famous hands and review them from an actual expert perspective. This is how you should play this hand. This is how you should play that hand. And because I'm very well versed and we're playing to my strengths, the show was very successful. That series has been by far and away the most successful thing that's happened on my channel, but I also tried a lot of different stuff. I had a news show going for a while where I talk about what's happening in poker in terms of people winning money or some of the drama in the community, or I would talk about any of the things that people were chatting about in the poker subforums. And that's really, those are other attempts to try and grow in different ways, but at the end of the day, the most important thing that I had to keep hammering was this poker analysis because that was my strength. You might be sitting there thinking, okay, that's cool, but what if I'm not an expert and no one knows who I am? That's actually okay because this brings us to our second example. I made a cryptocurrency channel something like 8 months ago, and I in no way am an expert on cryptocurrency. In fact, I've said that in many of my videos. I'm not going to pretend to be something I'm not. That's also a really important thing, guys. Don't pretend to be someone you're not. If you don't know about a subject and you start lying about it, eventually people are going to realize you're totally full of shit and they're not going to watch your videos anymore. So with cryptocurrency, it was a bit more complex. I had to figure out what exactly my role was going to be. It's not going to be the guy who knows if Bitcoin's going up or down because I don't know that stuff. It's not going to be the guy who knows which coins are up and coming and which ones are on the way out because I don't know that stuff either. I have my guesses as to it because I do invest in the space, but I can't give advice to people on which ones I really think are going to succeed because I'm not knowledgeable enough in that field. So the overall conclusion that I came to was there is a ton of really hilarious stuff going on in this space, and no one is really making jokes about it. No one's making fun of these scammer guys or these other YouTubers that are just saying complete nonsense. There's no one who's actually poking fun at the industry itself. And so a big emphasis of that channel was that I made fun of the things inside it. I made fun of some of the topics that were trending. It was sort of more of a comedy channel within the space relative to all of these, I would say, more news and information channels. Again, I did still do some news and some information and some current topics. I think it's important to mix that into your overall strategy, but I wasn't the expert and I still managed to find a place that I could sort of grow within the community. It's my opinion this will be the hardest part of your YouTube journey, figuring out that space, figuring out what's being underserved. Do not copy people just because they're successful above you. That's not going to win in the long run. What you need to do is figure out what side of the space you're looking at isn't being covered enough. Is there not enough news? Is there not enough analysis? Is there not enough, how-to guides? Are there not enough people playing a certain game? Are there not enough people covering a certain sport? Look, I wish I could help you more specifically, but that's really the key here. The key is to carve out your space in that community, and that's how one day you can become a big channel. At this point, you've either figured out a good idea of what you want to do, who you want to be on YouTube, or you haven't. And either way, that's okay, because you're going to start making videos. If you don't have a good option, go with your best option. If you don't have a decent option, go with your worst option. If you have no options, I'll pick one for you. Answer in the comments below, and I'm just going to make up your video type. At this point, you've made 3 to 5 YouTube videos. Your videos are looking and sounding better. You're getting a better idea of your place on the platform. And your last video of top 5 salads is just a massive smash success. I'm kidding, all of your videos probably have very few views, but don't get discouraged. You can't out of the gate think that my channel is failing because these videos are doing really bad. My original videos did not do well on YouTube. In fact, my first videos were Twitch stream highlights. Those were not exactly the most popular. We're now ready to get into the packaging for your video, and this is where small YouTubers make some of the worst mistakes that they can possibly make on the entire platform. Seriously, this is in some ways more important than the video itself. Because think about it like this. Whenever your video pops up on YouTube in a sidebar, in the browse features, wherever it is, people might see it, they will see it, and then they'll see a bunch of other videos around it. And so your video has to say something to them that's like, this is the one you want to watch. It's basically a chance for you to advertise your video. And so this is where it's very important to put attractive elements into your thumbnail and title so people look at it and go, oh, that looks interesting, I'd like to watch that. It's also important to think about you're trying to advertise your video to the average person, not to some ideal person that you're making out in your mind. You want your video, if you want to succeed in the platform, you want the average person to see it and possibly click on it or be interested in clicking on it. That's the point of the packaging. So the idea is that you want to make the title and the thumbnail be as attractive as possible, but not crossing that line into lying. And that's what clickbait is, when you go too far and the packaging is no longer in line with what the video has to offer. If you want to make some packaging that's tongue-in-cheek or makes fun of the video or makes fun of some elements or some of the jokes about it, that's fine. You can get a little creative with it. You have a lot of room to be creative. But do not title something that is a blatant lie. That is where you'll go too far and your audience will not be happy, because if they click on that video and it's a lie, well, now they feel misled and they're not going to come back. So be aggressive with your packaging, but don't lie. And I'm going to go ahead and show you my channel so you guys can get a good idea of what I'm talking about. This is my poker YouTube channel, and these are my thumbnails and titles. And there's a bunch of things going on here in no particular order. I'm going to just tell you some general ideas. First off, capitalized words work. I know that a lot of people might say that they look like spam, they hate it, it looks like whatever, but the problem is it works. And that's really the thing that you're going to see is constant here. It's not about what I think about videos or what I would like it to be. It's about what works. I don't want to have to put capitalized words all over the place in my titles. I'd love to title videos exactly what they are and it would succeed. But that's not interesting. There's no element of like, oh, what's this about? You know, you're giving it away. You're giving away exactly what it is. People find that boring and won't click. This is not something you can fight. Well, you can fight it, but then you're just going to have less viewers. So the point of the matter is this. You're going to want to package it in a way that makes people want to see it, not in a way that you feel most accurately depicts the content. Phrases that seem to be particularly strong are phrases like "you won't believe," "unbelievable," a little Philip DeFranco, "why everyone is freaking out about." Again, these are not lies. These are just worded in ways that are very attractive to people to want to see what everything's all about. Also, top 5 tends to be quite good. They're worded in attractive ways that might bring in new viewers because they want to see what this is all about. You could mix it up here. There are a lot of big YouTubers who use all capitalized letters in every word, but I don't think that emphasizes words enough. Still a play you can make. You can do a lot of stuff with the titles, guys. And what my advice would be is to see a bunch of big YouTubers in the space you're looking at, see what they do, and then see big YouTubers outside of it. What are their strategies? And try and take some of them and implement it into your videos, and you might find some more success. Moving on to talking about the thumbnails themselves, and this is the number one best piece of advice I can possibly give you with thumbnails. Make all of the thumbnails very different. There is a term called banner blindness. When people see the same image over and over again, they're less likely to click on it. Why? Because subconsciously it's less interesting. So don't just put the same thumbnail up, maybe change a little corner of it and do it day after day. People will not be sure if they've seen it before. People won't be interested in it. Don't do that. You want your thumbnails to be very different. Now, it's okay to include branding. There are certain channels that are successful with that approach. But in my personal opinion, I would just try and make them as unique as possible from thumbnail to thumbnail. Another few tactics that I found to be highly successful. The yellow arrow pointing at something, that's the important part of the video, tends to be particularly good. People want to know what that arrow is all about. Big dollar amounts when they're true. Again, we're not going to lie to the viewers. Big dollar amounts tend to do well as well. In hand analysis videos, two people looking at each other tends to do well. In fact, I would say two people looking at each other tends to do well in general because it creates this atmosphere of two people facing off sort of, and that sort of feeling of drama between two people brings people in. And it's sort of silly because in so many of these poker videos, they're playing a hand against each other, right? So like if you play poker, you know there's not a lot of drama if you play a hand against somebody. But to the average viewer, it is, right? Two people playing against each other for a lot of money. So it creates this idea of drama between two people because the amount of money is so big. I also want to show you guys at least a channel or two that are doing a poor job with similar content. And again, I'm not trying to be mean. Maybe this can help those channels out. I don't want to make it seem like I'm attacking these guys, but I am trying to give you guys an idea of what to not do when you're titling your videos and making the thumbnail. This channel is called The Poker Guys. In fact, these guys were around before me doing poker analysis. I'm not sure who they are. I don't know if they've played poker at mid or high stakes level before. My guess is no, but I don't know that for sure. And they were making poker hand analysis videos before I had even been on the platform. Now, a big problem for the poker guys is that they do not understand how to title and make thumbnails, and that is going to make them struggle. These Digital Dan is back thumbnails are not good for several reasons. First off, who is Digital Dan? We don't know, right? You as a random viewer, you're not going to be like, oh, Digital Dan, I love him. No, you're not going to know who that is. So it does not appeal to the average person, right? It has to have something that makes sense. If it doesn't make any sense, it's not going to be an attractive thumbnail. Also, episode 3, that sounds kind of bad as well. You think you're putting in like, oh, they'll know it's a series, but what you're actually doing is saying, hey, you missed the first 2 episodes, probably don't watch this one either. Also, in their thumbnail, they have very small letters, and that's another important aspect I forgot to mention in the last video. Try to avoid having a lot of words in your thumbnail if possible, but make them easy to see and don't have little small ones in the thumbnail. Again, this is your chance to advertise the best version of your video, and you're picking some small words nobody can read in like a middle thumbnail, sort of in the top. I don't exactly know what we're looking at. They also tried to do the thumbnail strategy where they have an arrow, which is good. That's a step in the right direction, but it points at something that you can't see in the thumbnail clearly. You're essentially like, look at this thing you can't see. And so it's not that interesting because you don't know what it is. If they want to make this thumbnail better, they should have made this arrow a brighter color and made the thing they're pointing at much bigger. And this might be like, you're like, Doug, these are such small things, who cares? This is stuff that matters, man. The packaging for your video is your chance to get people in the door. Don't take that lightly. We've taken a look at titles and thumbnails, but now let's break into the data. And this is actually what I find most exciting about making YouTube videos. When you post a video, you're going to see upvotes and downvotes and comments and all sorts of things. But I want you to remember something. Those are the outliers. Those are the people that feel strongly. So if you have, let's just say 50 upvotes and 5 downvotes, there were 50 people who liked the video. They maybe like what you put out enough to where they say, good job, we like what you're doing. And there were 5 people that were extremely angry and like, I don't like you at all. Here's a downvote. Don't make this again. And even though it's tempting to try and let those 55 people control the video, if you have that many upvotes to downvotes, you probably had at least a few thousand people watch your video. So what matters? The 3,000 people that click the video or your 55 most vocal people? Well, of course, you still want to make videos for the people that like your content, but at the same time, you have to think about big picture. It's about the data and the averages. It's not about a small vocal subsection of the community. This is where averages come to an important point. It's about watch time, and most specifically, average watch time, which means when someone clicks your video, on average, how long do they watch for? I'm going to give you 2 examples. Person A watches your entire video, puts a downvote on it, and leaves a nasty comment, okay? probably something that shouldn't be allowed on YouTube's comment section. Person B watches 10 seconds, but they really like you, so they leave a positive comment. Really enjoying the video. Good job, man. Give you an upvote and leave. Which one helps you more? And this is pretty fucked up, but this guy helped you more because he watched the whole video and increased your average watch time. Also, YouTube doesn't really use downvotes to not show videos. In fact, any engagement generally constitutes a positive impact on the YouTube algorithm. There are certainly arguments to be made that it doesn't make much effect at all, which I kind of believe. But the point is this: the number one thing that matters is watch time. This is a graph of one of the recent videos on my poker channel, and it shows how much of the audience stayed over time. Now, one thing that I found about analyzing poker hands is that people tend to stay for the entire hand because they want to see the conclusion of the hand. Now, you might say, Doug, how can you say that they stayed the entire time? They only stayed for on average about 50% or whatever. And that's actually quite good for a video that's in the 10 to 20 minute range. Analysis of hands tends to be quite resilient when you're looking at watch time because people feel invested and want to see what happens in the hand. Now, this is not the true with a lot of the other types of videos I make. Let me show you maybe like a news video so you can get an idea. Here we can see the graph of a video that did a few 100,000 views on the platform. So that means it was very successful and YouTube wanted to continue showing it to people. But this video operates very differently. You can see by the conclusion of the video, only about 20% are there before the end card rolls. So this is much more in line with what most videos, I think, tend to do, where it drops off steadily throughout the entire video. But that's not the case when you analyze a hand. That's why that series has been promoted so heavily by YouTube, because they always see a high average watch time when I make those videos, and thus it was my most successful thing on the platform. This is what you have to do. You have to look at this data. You have to see, okay, what parts do people really like? Obviously, in the middle of this video, there's a bump in the amount of people who watched it, but that's because it was the analysis of a hand in the middle. People like the analysis of the hands the most. So you have to figure out in your space, what do people want to see? Which one of your videos had higher watch time? Where did you have spikes in the watch time indicating people either rewatched or they skipped to or whatever? What videos and what types of videos and what bits in those videos do people like? Do more of those. Do less of the things where people leave. You have the data. It's in your hand. Use it. YouTube also recently released impressions and CTR, which means click-through rate, where you can see when shown your video how often people click on it. That's also a huge tool. Now you can see on average how often people click on your title and thumbnail. This is cool because now you can actually look at your packaging. Remember that title and thumbnail that we looked at earlier or we talked about? Well, now you can see which ones get clicked more, which ones get clicked less, and you can start to build your strategy. The ones that didn't get clicked much, don't do those again, right? The ones that did really well, break it down. How did you make the title look? What words did you use? What did the thumbnail look like? What were the colors you used? And this doesn't seem like it's part of YouTube. I know people think like, oh, you just make videos. The analysis of the data is probably the number one most important thing to succeed. Look, you got to make good videos, right? No doubt about that. I'm not saying you can put out garbage and you're going to do well, but you have the power, man. Use the information that's available to you to analyze your content as if it's not about it's not about how you liked the video. It's what the people want. That's what's great about YouTube. It's a meritocracy. How good your video is will be directly involved in what the results of the video are. If you make a video everyone clicks on and loves, YouTube will show that to more people because YouTube's goal is to get people to watch videos on the platform. And if you're helping them do that, they'll show it to more people. And that's what it's all about. That's the most important part of this. Now, this video is already kind of long, and I don't want to analyze these stats super in depth anymore because, frankly, I only want to make this video so long for people to watch because my audience retention is probably going down as we speak. So here's the thing. The analysis part is the most important. Make videos constantly, have at least reasonable hardware that you can make your videos with. Make sure to put attractive packaging on them, understand and carve out your space, and analyze your data. If you do all those things, I guarantee you'll do a lot better than if you had not. I can't say you're going to be a star. I really can't. I wish I could. It's tough out there, man. Like I've worked hard on this for 2 years. And while I'm proud of my results, I think 200K subs is a good amount. I'm by no means like a huge person on YouTube. I'm more of a mid-tier YouTuber. But the point is this: if you take this approach and you apply it to an area that you personally love, you might end up being able to one day becoming a YouTuber. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button, join the channel. I also do some content in other areas you might be interested. I'll put the links in the description below.